Crown Prince Frederik, heir to the Danish throne, fell into the lenses of journalists. Not just one. Meet the beautiful Genevieve Casanova. She is a Mexican model, socialite, and former daughter-in-law of the Duchess of Alba. It was this woman who was seen near the husband of Crown Princess Mary. Their story resembled a fairy tale. A Scottish girl and a Danish heir to the throne met in Australia. Mary Donaldson's family immigrated there in 1963. Before she was born, her father taught at the University of Tasmania, then worked in the United States and South Korea. Mary was used to traveling the world, but she graduated from university in her beloved Tasmania, which she considers her true home and where she tries to visit more often. In 2000, when the Olympic Games were held in Sydney, Mary also came to cheer for the national team. Frederik went to the stadium stands with his own Danish flag. They met by chance in a pub, and Mary had no idea who was in front of her, just a simple guy named Fred with a funny accent. The fact that he was a prince, the Danish heir, informed her not immediately. This is true love, raved the Danish newspapers, and the royal family worried, can Mary be coming Copenhagen his? However, the doubts were dispelled quickly enough. In 2001, Mary was invited to communicate with the Queen, and on May 14, 2004, a grand wedding took place in Europe. There is no omen about May weddings. They say it's a lifelong pain. Quietly married in May, and the already mentioned bride and groom and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. On May 12, 1191, King Richard the Lionheart of England took a Navarre princess as his wife, and on May 22, 2004, for Spanish Prince Philip, the current king, led to the altar. Journalist Licia Ortiz. Yes, and at first Mary and Frederik looked quite happy. In addition, Mary is tied hand and foot. In case of divorce, she loses her rights to her children. They are children of the crown. They belong to the Glurg Mons dynasty. In the event of divorce, Mary could choose to live anywhere on the planet, but the 4 children would remain in Cobham. And then the clouds rolled in, and it had been said before that Fred was a party animal. Calm and prudent, Mary always smiled at their joint outings, but psychologists have long believed by body language that the spouses are not all right. They try to hold on as if everything is fine between him, but is it really so? The other day the tabloids found confirmation. The well-being in the family of the Crown Prince and Crown Princess is not quite true. Fred appeared in public in the company of model Genevieve Casanova. Of course, she looks great. In her 47 years, she has runway successes and a glittering socialite marriage under her belt. Katana Martinez, Count Salvatierra, and Duke of Arjona, the 5th son of the famous Duchess of Alba, called Genevieve to marry in 2005. The aristocrat and the model had been dating for 5 years up to that time, and out of marriage. They had a twin, but were able to live in the same house for only 2 years. In 2007, the couple broke up. Photo Genevieve and Frederik made recently in Madrid, where they visited a restaurant together. It is known that the two occupied a separate office, which left far past midnight. And then, even more interesting, the Crown Prince's car stood until morning under the windows of Jeannie's apartment, and in the morning he came out as if nothing had happened. The royal palace reserves the right not to comment on such things, have already expressed. Official representatives of Copenhagen, however, outrage is bubbling up in the Danish kingdom. How can this be? How can you do this to Mary? The people love her very much. It's too demonstrative to be true, say Frederik's defenders. Mary, as usual, remains silent, but the hint of divorce has been heard in the press more than once. All the previous antics of her husband do not go in any comparison with this act. After all, even the Crown Princess's youngest children are no longer babies. Twins Vincent and Josephine are already 12 years old, so if the parents decide to dissolve the marriage, they can explain it, yes, and separation from their mother. As such, they are not threatened. The children are studying at school. No one will forbid them to spend vacations together, and they're into adulthood when they can do what they want. Not far away, however, skeptics believe that it will not come to divorce. The Queen will not allow her son to leave his wife, whose popularity far exceeds his own. Crown Prince Frederik, heir to the Danish throne, fell into the lenses of journalists. Not just one. Meet the beautiful Genevieve Casanova. She is a Mexican model, socialite, and former daughter-in-law of the Duchess of Alba. It was this woman who was seen near the husband of Crown Princess Mary. Their story resembled a fairy tale. A Scottish girl and a Danish heir to the throne met in Australia. Mary Donaldson's family immigrated there in 1963. Before she was born, her father taught at the University of Tasmania, then worked in the United States and South Korea. Mary was used to traveling the world, but